Several years ago, before we wrote the book Think Orange, we gathered with some leaders and we decided to talk through these concepts in a video called The Essence of Orange. It was a very interesting time for us as we worked through each one of these concepts. It ended up being a 7-segment video that you can either watch over a weekend retreat or over a period of weeks. But for us, the power of it was we had an opportunity to think through these concepts. Now, obviously, they're in the book called Think Orange. But we hope that as you look through these videos, it will just get you involved in understanding how these can help you calibrate your ministry. We're also coming out with a book called The Orange Leader's Handbook that you can actually use every week as a perpetual learning device to help you continue to push at these principles. Either way, we hope that the Orange principles will help you transform how you do church and how you do ministry to reach the next generation.
Welcome to the Holly Theater. We thought this would be a great place to come to have a very important discussion. This place opened April 12, 1948, and it's symbolic of the movie industry boom. What happened here on that day was incredible. Opening day, lines of people showed up because they were excited about a new movie theater in Dahlonega, Georgia. Those were the glory days. Those were the days when this place came alive and the magic happened in so many different people's lives. Kids who showed up here showed up for a couple of reasons. Number one, there was air conditioning. Number two, there was something called Western Electric Sound. But somewhere in the mid-50s, with the invention of television, the attendance at the Holly began to decline. And, as you would suspect, over time, the next 2 decades, the Holly ultimately in 1970 closed its doors and became a dilapidated, rundown building. For nearly 2 decades, people would drive by the Holly and they watched as it became an eyesore in the community. And they watched as all of a sudden it became a place infested with rats and pigeons. Then an amazing, remarkable thing happened. Some men had an idea that maybe they could resurrect the glory of the Holly. They even believed that some of the magic that existed in the Holly, that they had seen in their childhood, and that they had seen as they grew up, could still be somehow recaptured. And guess what? They decided to do a very remarkable thing. They made a very wise decision not to simply restore the Holly to its original state, because they knew that simply doing that would not meet the need of the present-day community. Instead, they decided to turn the Holly into a community arts center and a children's theater. In other words, they really believed that the Holly, which had once been a place of influence, could be a place of influence again. I like the story of the Holly because I think the story of the Holly parallels with the story of the church. Here was an institution that at one time had been a center of activity, but it lost its influence. The church as well is an institution that I'm afraid in our country is at a crossroads because it's losing its influence. That's why we chose this place to meet with 9 church leaders and just to talk about that issue. And what are the ways that we can rediscover, to reinvent the church so that it can continue to be the light that it's supposed to be in a generation. This building represents the rebuilding of influence in a community. Maybe we can discover some secrets about how to rebuild the church in a way it can make a lasting influence in the next generation.